the laws work all the time. As the law is the law. It's like the law of gravity. The law of gravity doesn't just work on Thursdays. It doesn't just work if you know what it is. It doesn't just work if you're a redhead. And that's the same with the universal laws of success, that they work 100% of the time, all the time, even if you're ignorant of them. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Unstoppable Woman podcast. I'm Amira Alvarez. I am the founder, the CEO of the Unstoppable Woman, and I'm super excited that you are here. Today, we are talking about how to apply the 7 fundamental universal laws of success to scale your business. So how to apply the 7 universal laws of success and scale your business. So this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because it's one of the things that really helped me make my quantum leap. Yes, there's lots of things in business that you have to master, that you have to study, that are essential needle-moving activities. You have to understand marketing. You have to understand sales. You have to understand leadership. You have to understand how to hire and project manage, and all these things go into business. There are a lot of tactical, outer game, strategic things that you absolutely need to learn. Start now. Up your game if you're already in it, right? Like just keep going. Don't stop. That's all essential. We in our business, we're constantly iterating on these things. And yet when I made my big quantum leap, when I was in my 3rd year, I guess I was in my 4th year of business, my 3rd year in business, I made $138K. And by the end of my 4th year in business, I had made $700K. So I 5 times my income in a year, which was crazy growth and crazy good. And something that was, it's not what most solo entrepreneurs do. And when I say solo, I probably had one person helping me on the team. So before that, in my big sort of wake up moment, I realized that I was working super, super hard. I didn't have a lack of work ethic or a lack of commitment. I was working really hard, but I wasn't getting ahead. And I didn't know exactly why that was. I had a belief system that said that hard work was the way to move the needle in your business. And sure enough, you do need to put in the effort. Like, do not listen to this and think, oh, I don't have to put in the effort. You do. Okay. You absolutely do. But I knew something was off because it felt like if you saw me as a little ping pong ball and I was in a glass container, I was moving really quickly. I was bouncing off those walls. I was doing a lot of stuff. I was incredibly reactive, but I kept hitting these blocks and it felt like an invisible container was holding me back or in, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't see what was holding me back, but I knew there was something that I wasn't seeing that was keeping me from scaling and growing my business. And so when I started to learn these universal laws, and I will say that I was resistant to a lot of what was out there around manifestation and the laws because it felt a little airy-fairy to me. It felt like everything you heard was around the law of attraction. And although it was intriguing to me, and I watched The Secret just like everyone else, and I was like, that sounds good. There was something that was truth, like there was some truth in that was resonant to me. I still had a lot of resistance to it. And is that just like, how could that possibly be true? And yet when I started to really study these laws and dive in, go with a leap of faith in the beginning around them, it was like that glass container disappeared. And those walls that were containing me and limiting me and holding me back just, melted away. And I don't want it to seem like there was no effort, because there was, but it was so much easier than what I had been doing before. And I was able to unleash the power that already already existed, and really quantum leap. And so that's what learning the laws did for me. It was like that glass container just melted away that was holding me back. And so if you've ever felt like there's something holding you back, if I'm so smart, if I'm so driven, if I'm such a good person, if I have good work ethic, if I have a good product or service, why is this so freaking hard? Listen up, this is for you. Okay. So what are the laws? Let's start with that. These are the universal laws of success. They're based on Hermetic law. You can go research Hermetic law or not. I learned the laws without learning in depth what the Hermetic, the history of it was. For many, many years, I didn't dive into that aspect of it, but they come from centuries old teachings that have been handed down person to person, mentor to mentor. Over time, they were integrated secretly into Christianity and other religions, and they have an air of mysticism and esotericness. I don't know if that's a word, because they were shrouded in secrecy for many years. They were so powerful that people didn't want the man on the street, or in our case, the woman on the street, to have access to them. Now, life has evolved, and we as humans in a human culture have evolved, and we have higher levels of education out there, and ability to be responsible and respectful, and we recognize that everyone can learn and apply these respectfully, with rare exceptions of people with mental diseases, perhaps, that would be an exception there. Okay. So, but fundamentally, these have been passed down person to person, mentor to mentor. And this is what my access to them was. I went to a seminar very similar to, you may have heard us inviting you to the 7 Laws to 7 Figures Summit. The seminar that I went to wasn't specifically on applying the laws, but the person mentioned them, and mentioned them in such a way that it was accessible to me. They weren't so airy-fairy. They were very, I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then I ended up studying under someone who could really teach me these laws, and from a higher level of awareness than where I was at that time. And then I did my own deep study of them because I really wanted to master them myself. So there's 7 fundamental laws that you need to know, and we'll cover those in a minute. The laws govern the universe. They're like physical laws. That's one thing that you really have to understand, that it's not something that is coincidental, random, erratic, inconsistent. The laws work all the time. As the law is the law. It's like the law of gravity. The law of gravity doesn't just work on Thursdays. It doesn't just work if you know what it is. It doesn't just work if you're a redhead. And that's the same with the universal laws of success, that they work 100% of the time, all the time, even if you're ignorant of them. So many of us would be ignorant of the law of gravity if someone didn't tell us that the fact that we don't float into the atmosphere is because of something called gravity. We wouldn't have articulated it. Most of us, even though we understand that gravity is what's keeping us from flying into the outer space and what causes things to drop down if they are released, we can see the evidence of that, but we wouldn't necessarily have the name for it. And we certainly don't know how to explain it. I'm not a physicist. I don't know how to scientifically describe and explain gravity. And I would imagine 99.9999999% of the population doesn't either. And yet they don't argue that gravity is not real or not in existence. So it's the same thing with the spiritual laws. And once you understand that they are real and that they are the law and they work all the time, then you can understand how to apply them in your life. And your business is part of your life. It's part of this world that we're in. And we cannot escape these laws. They are there whether you are aware of them or ignorant of them, and they affect your business and how you work as a human being. So it's really critical to understand them. So let's not be ignorant. Let's be aware, and let's learn how they work. Another example of this, aside from gravity, the law of gravity, for instance, is something like love. You know that love exists even if you can't see it. And it's like that glass container that I mentioned earlier. I couldn't see what was holding me back, but I knew something was holding me back. I didn't have the words for it. I was ignorant. But then once I became aware, you can't put the blinders back on. You are now aware that there are these laws governing success. And if you choose not to learn them, understand them, apply them, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're making things a lot harder. Okay, so the thing that you need to know is that once you're aware of them, then you need to start applying them and testing them out and seeing the cause and effect in your own life and business. And this is how you're going to really, really get that they work and how you can use them for your own business success as well. Now, because I can tell you what they are. In fact, I teach them to all my clients again and again and again in greater and greater detail because they're so important, and I can fast track your ability to apply them by the level, teaching them to you from the level of awareness that I'm at and iterating on it again and again with you as you're growing your business. However, it's your personal responsibility to start learning them and start applying them. And that's where you're going to go from feeling like that ping pong ball to feeling like you have agency in your life, that you have control over your outcomes, that you know how to achieve your goals faster than you ever thought possible, how you can achieve what you want, and that you're not just, life isn't just happening to you. You're not like on this emotional roller coaster. And in business, this is so key. Once I figured this out, then I became the master of my life, my own life. I wasn't in reactivity mode, and I wasn't externally driven. I became internally driven. And that was a huge breakthrough. That's where freedom comes from. And most people want the business success because they want freedom. Yes, we love the money, right? The money gets to buy you the beach house or take you on vacations or put your kids through college or leave a legacy for your family. It allows you to have some ability to do things with the currency that we use in this world, which is one of the currencies we use in this world is money, and it's critically important. And people generally want money, not because they are in subsistence living right now, though some of you may be feeling a little bit like that, but because they want freedom. And here's the thing, the freedom comes first. The freedom comes from understanding how you work and how the laws work. And then you can create whatever you want in your business financially, which is huge. Okay. If you want to master your business, you must master your mindset first. Our next Income Breakthrough Summit is designed to help you do just that. This November, in just 3 days, I am going to be giving you a roadmap of exactly what you need to do to dramatically increase your income and achieve the freedom that you desire without burnout. Podcast listeners, you can save big by visiting theunstoppablewoman.com/breakthrough to grab your super early bird ticket today and save $800. You better hurry while the offer is still available. Bye for now, and I'll see you at the summit. Let's talk about some of these laws. So understanding, I'm just going to go over them at a top level today. If you're interested in going deeper into this, we have the 3-day summit that I mentioned earlier, which is the 7 Laws to 7 Figures Summit. And this is for women in business. And I teach you how to apply these to your business. We unpack a lot of the things that are limiting your thinking so that you can receive this information and use it to scale your business. So lots on money beliefs, lots on how your mind works, how to change your identity, how to really step up as a business owner in your business and lead and make better decisions. And this is part of that whole conversation. Okay, so let's talk about the law of cause and effect first. So there's 7 fundamental laws. One of them is the law of cause and effect, and it allowed me to understand exactly what I had to do in my business to get the results I wanted. So this is super critical. If you don't understand that we don't live in a random universe, but we live in a universe that is causal, there's cause and effect, and there's all sorts of causes that you have to look at. You know, we can break this down to something very, very basic, like if you want more clients, you need more lead generation. If you want more lead generation, then it becomes a little bit more tricky. What kinds of causes do you need to put into effect? Well, you have a myriad of possibilities there. Well, then you have to look at what would work for you, what's working right now in the marketplace. All sorts of variables are at play, but those are all causes. Now, ignorance is a cause as well. Your vibration is a cause as well. Your come from energy is a cause as well. So you have to understand how to think about cause and effect. And in your subconscious programming is a cause as well. That's something we go into a lot at the summit. Okay, so cause and effect, that was huge, opened up huge doors, helped me take 100% personal responsibility for my business and quantum leaped my income completely. So again, this is not just like, woo, this is very practical. Like you have to start thinking, you have to start learning how to think. And if you learn how to think according to cause and effect and not think that like, oh, it's just happening to me, then you will start having dramatically different results. Okay. What about another one of the 7 foundational laws, the law of rhythm? So that taught me how to understand the cycles in my business, my personal cycles, my daily cycles, my time cycles, my monthly cycles, my business seasonal cycles, and help me understand and get crystal clear that, again, not a random universe, that there are rhythms. And if I work according to the rhythm and I don't fight it, I don't lose energy. And I can funnel that back into the growth of my business and, quite frankly, of my life. Okay, how about the law of gender? The law of gender taught me that when to amplify the masculine essence in me and when to amplify the feminine essence in me. And we need both. We have both essences, the masculine and the feminine, and we need to activate both of them to grow our business, because creative life force energy and business is all about creating something that requires both the masculine and the feminine. And yet most people don't know when to activate the feminine and when to activate the masculine. And learning this will help you be able to receive more. You know, a lot of women in business are all in their masculine and don't know they want to receive more. Let's say receive more clients or receive more income or receive more downtime, but they don't know how to actually energetically receive. So that's critical as well. What about the law of vibration? I mentioned vibration. I just touched on it. Your come from energy is important, and everything in the universe is vibrating. And if you don't know how to adjust your vibration so that you're vibrating at the level of what you wish to receive, you're going to be limited. There will be that invisible cap on your success. Law of polarity. Law of polarity says that everything is created as a whole. There are no halves in the universe. So if you have the desire, the supply is ready to appear, because you couldn't have the desire without the supply. That would be one half of a whole, and that does not exist. How does that work for creation in your business? That was a game changer for me when I started to actually recognize this law at play and how to tap into and activate it. It was huge. I started to create and receive so much so quickly, and the floodgates started to open. But as you can see, all of these laws work together. You can't just talk about polarity without vibration, without cause and effect, without gender, right? All of them work together. There's the law of relativity that helps you understand your perspective and how you need to look at your experiences so that you can leverage them rather than stay stuck. And then there's the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, which allows you to understand what a creative life force activation entity you are, and how you have the power to transform the non-form, things that are in the non-form, into form. Like, you want money, but it's not in your bank account. How do you create that? You want a team member. You want a new director of marketing. You want a new compliance officer, whatever it is in your business that you want. If you know how to translate that from an idea to form, can you see how that would speed up your business success? So these are the 7 foundational laws, and there are a myriad of subsidiary laws, like the law of reciprocity and the law of personal responsibility. You need to understand how these all work together. Okay. To wrap this up, I want to talk about how I found what ways did I learn to best integrate and activate these in my business. And I think there's a 3-prong approach. So one is, you have to learn, you have to study. This is from a mentor. This is constant spaced repetition. This is from someone who has a higher level of awareness. This is book study. This is listening to this podcast. This is all of that. It's coming to the summit. You have to up your learning game. Okay, you just do. You can't just hear it once. You can't just go, oh, yeah, I know that. You have to up your learning game. And this is super, super critical. It doesn't ever stop. You have to be a lifelong student. I know I'm a lifelong student, even though I teach this at a master level to my clients. This is, you have to start learning them. You have to start studying them. Then step 2, I would say, or the second part of the 3-prong approach, is to test them out. Okay. You can't just leave them as this sort of esoteric knowledge, this parlor trick, if you will. I see a lot of people looking at them as like a parlor trick. They're not parlor tricks. Don't take this like that. It might feel like magic when you start manifesting and creating the income that you desire so much quicker than you ever thought possible. That said, they are laws. They are not parlor tricks. And it requires that you use them, that you test them out. So you have to start taking the learning that you're acquiring and asking yourself, how would I use this? And start applying it to your life and business and acting differently, making different decisions based on understanding the laws at higher and higher levels of awareness. So you need to test them out and see what the outcomes are and see how to fine tune your application. And what I did was, I was like, okay, this makes sense to me. I am going to act as if they're true. I'm going to go all in and believe them and act as if it's true, even though I was previous to that moment, skeptical, and I didn't quite, wasn't my upbringing to believe like this. It wasn't how I was raised. So this was going to be a leap of faith for me. But I chose, I'm going to start acting as if they're true, believing them and testing them out. And then once I really got so much evidence for their truth, and that was happening over time, then the next level was living the laws. So you have to live the laws 100% of the time. And what happens is you'll be faced by your conditioning, and your conditioning will say, no, you have to go believe in scarcity. You have to go believe that there's not enough. You have to go back to believing that it needs to be hard, or that you have to be frustrated or unhappy, right? And yet that's not the truth. You could, or you can activate the law of polarity and live differently. And so you have to live them 100% of the time. And this means when you notice that you're not, and this happens as you level up at all the levels of awareness, when the moment you recognize that you are out of an alignment with them, meaning you're wanting to believe an old belief rather than the truth of the law, you have to clean that up and live differently. And this is where most people stop. And you don't want to stop there. Okay, with that, we are a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know if you did. And I can't wait to see you all at the summit. Take care. Bye-bye.